Good morning. Okay, we're continuing with Traktum's book on bright virtue. And let me see. It starts with a few quotes. What sees from the eyes is utter emptiness, no self, expands without explanation. For that, even the arising and extinction of the universe is a matter of no import or implication at all. Because of this, appearances become a playground. Then, new quote: The sage has no fearlessness because they have no fear. They have no death because they've given up the lie of birth. They have no insecurity because they have no security. They have no other because they have no self. They have no consciousness because they have no unconsciousness. A new chapter: Stages of Unknowing. The contemplative process moves through stages of unknowing into perfect annihilation of knowing. It is only in the perfection of unknowing that the illumination of wisdom might dawn. One might say that the perfection of wisdom is perfect unknowing, revealing a luminous ignorance. Mind, with all its surety and anxiety, is made up of its knowings. It's made up of knowledge. This knowledge is always a collection of bits and pieces from the past, arranged as curios in the entry hall of the mind. In the beginning, people tend to think that spiritual life is a glorious quest for new bits and pieces of especially arcane and interesting knowledge, and certainly that does seem to come with the territory. But it's not the point. Rather, it's a byproduct. Knowing solidifies into rigidity of unquestioned superstition. Some of these superstitions are taken as so self obvious that they are next to impossible to question. Once this was true of the fact that the world is flat, or that the earth is the center of the solar system. Like these two erroneous conclusions, the superstition that anything like birth or death ever happened to any person is another absurd falsity that is almost unquestionable for most people. When the tangled mass of concepts that make up most people's worldview is unraveled, there is less and less to know. Spiritual life matures in a deep silence, whose quietude is wisdom, and whose extent is prayer. Within this unmaking of knowledge, there is a tremendous release of energy, which, when set free from erroneous constructs, turns out to be something quite unspeakable and utterly divine. It also turns out to be the substanceless substance of everything and everything. First, one must enter the cavern of unknowing, where all created objects and concepts, including self, God, being, enlightenment, bondage, wisdom, ignorance, are lost. It is only when there is tremendous courage, through which one rests in and is then dissolved in this dark emptiness, that natural great awareness's suprasensual luminosity comes to be known. But it is only known in an absolute helplessness, For there is no self to help, no God, no Guru, no Buddha there to help the self that is not there anymore. It's a flight of the alone to the alone. In that moment of darkness and helplessness, and only there, it can happen that awareness, devoid of any sense of self or object, experience or experiencer, discovers that emptiness is not a mere nothingness, but an expanse replete with potential qualities. In that moment, one discovers that the luminous expanse of nothingness is the birthplace and homeland of joy. Ah, okay. In that moment, one discovers that the luminous expanse of nothingness is the birthplace and homeland of joy, fearlessness, wisdom, and compassion. This can be thought about or spoken about with language and concept, but it cannot be known that way. In the first unknowing, one will lose everything: religion, homeland, self, even being. Every word, every concept is lost forever. In the subsequent knowing, there is no concretizing into knowledge, but only an unutterable mystery that divulges itself in every and all appearing. After the dark of unknowing and the bright of luminous ignorance, there is no chance any longer for narrow dogma based on word, ideology, attachment to this or that tradition or country. Body then lives as spacious joy, free from threat of terrorists, free from territory to defend. It is, however, good to remember that if you take the false away from those uninterested in the real, you only succeed in making them doubly homeless, and that is mean. New chapter. In conversation with a young Daikini, I said, "A geography of love is an impossibility." She said, "Why is it impossible?" I replied, "Because from beginningless non time, there has never been the slightest atom of actual substance material phenomena which could become mountain and valley." She laughed and answered back, "And yet, empty appearance appearing cares not one whit. Fertile valleys, impossibly high mountains, the expanse of stars, all right here, my love." I am conquered by her logic. Evening falls, and whole gardens of night blooming flowers open to release nectar to this drunken night bee. If I was a theologian or philosopher, I might fret over impossibilities. But the sage is a lover who cavorts free and easy in the dream boudoir of appearance. In the geography of immediacy, mind travels. The mist moved drunkenly through the forest, slow, sensuously drifting, winding. Mind travels as trees, like shrouded figures, creaking in the wind. In twilight, every place became the some place of mystery where mind travels. This mind of traveling A radiance subsumed in mystery winds sensuously without words, without thought, without self, without other. It winds through appearing untouched and yet intimate, free, recognizing appearances as its own play. Minds traveling, when lost in confusion, wanders the shrouded corridors of experience, startling at phantasms and projections. Hard edges, hard edges of righteous wrongness lose their tight angles in silent love's twilight. Thinking rested in silence becomes flickers of brightness. The sense of depth and distinction frolic and tumble in the opacity of confusion's evening as whole vistas of wonderment open outward. A large tree that had been hit by lightning the previous year, its rotting and charred trunk now home to bugs, birds, squirrels, and more, became in this gloaming hour a shadow play of dark and white. The body perfectly still, mind utterly silent, stood transfixed, looking and looking at the changes of misty pattern across its wide form. Suddenly an owl burst forth from a hole high up in the trunk with a screech. Without thought, without emotive content, the body-mind feeling wholeness burst out laughing with unbearable fullness. Go out into the woods. Go out where no one can see and pour your heart out to divine mystery. Let mind flow out from mind until silence sublimes. Let thought's confused insistence slip from tongue and lip until silence settles. Then true prayer awakens. True prayer, found in the sense field's perfect brightness, held in mind's silence, pervades and is pervaded by unimaginable godliness. When this is known, then all of nature becomes the symbolic divulgence of perfect freedom, joy, and love. When this has become unchanging, then one's life has become symbol and divulgence as well. And this is a quote from what follows now is a quote from Saint Gregory of Nyssa. It says, concepts create idols. Only wonder comprehends anything. People kill one another over idols. Wonder makes us fall to our knees. New heading. A universe of light. Imagine a universe comprised entirely of light. There's nothing but light. No things, just light. An expanse of light with no objects. Imagine somehow you're standing in a space outside of this universe of light, looking at it. What would you see? Would you see a great brightness? Would you see expansive luminosity? No, you wouldn't see anything at all. You would just see clear. You would just see clear through it like a clear pane of glass. You would see nothing because you cannot see clear light. You only know light when it hits an object and you see the reflective glow. Next, imagine you pick up a salt shaker and toss it into the universe of light, what would happen? Two things. The salt shaker would be brightly illuminated from every angle and side. Secondarily and simultaneously, you would know that the universe was suffused by light. You would know this by the reflection of light bouncing off an object. The potential to illuminate would have always been there, but it would be latent and not actualized because there was no secondary circumstance contributing to knowing the light's illuminating capacity. The light would still have been present, but what lets us know light, its illuminating nature, would have been unactualized. Now imagine a universe made entirely of knowingness, awareness, only awareness with no objects. Would the awareness be aware of itself? No. Awareness is like light. It remains latent until its nature is actualized. The nature of awareness is its luminous knowingness, its capacity to know. Until the salt shaker was thrown into the light, if it had the capacity for knowingness, it would have remained unaware of its own illuminating nature. Until you throw that salt shaker into the universe of awareness, it would remain unaware of its own capacity for knowingness. Throw the salt shaker in, and suddenly the universe knows two things. One, the salt shaker, and two, its own capacity for knowingness. We live in a universe made entirely of luminous awareness. The essence of this awareness is a mystery, unutterable because it is prior even to the salt shaker. It is the deep mystery wherefrom knowingness emerges as an object appears. The universe we live in is made of luminous awareness, and one aspect is the knowingness, and the other aspect is the luminous playful display. The luminous aspect is always displaying itself in all manner of showmanship. My guru used to say, appearance is the outrageous flirtatiousness of being. There is a moment, and it is every moment, when the self-luminous glow of awareness is emerging from the essence of mystery. In that moment, if the self-luminous glow of awareness recognizes itself as the play of mystery and also recognizes appearances as the same play, then no problem can ever arise. Then everything is known as temporary, unnecessary modification of unborn wisdom light. Awareness flirts with itself as appearance. Appearance allows itself to be ceaselessly seduced by expanse. The wave rises, falls, rises again, same ocean. In every moment, emptiness, the expanse of perfect mystery, is giving itself away in a wild, reckless love affair with appearing. It throws emptiness aside into somethingness. It flows out from itself without any thought of self, and in becoming somethingness even seems to die into its love. In every moment, somethingness is dissolving, resolving, surrendering into emptiness, into expanse. Waves rises, a wave rises, wave falls, rises again, same ocean. This giving of oneself, this surrender, this wild love is the context of appearing. And so it also characterizes the content of appearing. Confused beings, not knowing, not seeing, not living this process of surrender, try to latch onto some small piece of appearing, a birth, a life, experiences. And because nothing can be grasped, everything is impermanent, a modification of light. They cause themselves great suffering. The sage abides as the tidal motion of emptiness and somethingness, of expanse and luminosity, and rides the ever shifting changes as love. It's that simple, as love. My guru said to me, Nirmanakaya is love, and it is. It is love swinging on the love swing of emptiness and somethingness. That's the chapter for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Bye. Tomorrow I'll continue.